BBC Sounds. Music, radio, podcasts.
Welcome to Match of the Day Top 10. This is the last episode in the second series, and we've got another Premier League legend with us to finish it off. He starred for Lazio, Chelsea and Italy and managed his way to an FA Cup and a Champions League victory. It's Roberto Di Matteo. Roberto, thank you very much. Call you Robbie, don't we?
Yeah, that's fine. I was saying, only my mum calls me Roberto when she's off with me. Everybody else calls me Robbie.
We'll call you Robbie then.
Good.
So how's it going? How have you been these last few months in these strange times?
Well, actually, we had considerably a good time, in this difficult environment because my children, they are in a full-time education. So one is at uni, and the other one is at uni or college in America. So they had to come back, and we had a bit of a good quality family time, but it's difficult, to have been locked in your house and basically your freedom taken from you, isn't it? So we were quite happy when the restrictions were lifted gradually and being able to resume your some sort of daily life.
Yeah, it's amazing actually how many of the players that I've spoken to during this that have said it's actually been quite nice getting to know my children a little bit and what they're like, spending a bit of time with them.
Yeah. We had some good discussions. My kids are a little bit older now, and we had some really good conversations, dinner table, and so on. So we enjoyed it. We just tried to do the best or make the best out of the situation, really.
Yeah. What do you make to football behind closed doors? Have you watched much?
Well, a little bit strange. Yeah, I've been watching. I mean, I started watching the Bundesliga first. They were the first ones to restart. Yeah. So a little bit strange, I guess. But the players will have got used to the fact that there are no crowds in the stadiums. And as human beings, we get used to new situations. So you kind of feel that it's almost normal now to watch a game without crowd, even though, watching the FA Cup final and the games at Wembley, it felt really strange.
Yeah, it was. I was there. Being there was very odd. You could see, like, with pundits that get excited, like Ian Wright and Rio Ferdinand, shouting out. You could see the players. You could see the players looking up and reacting to them
because they could hear it.
Really, yeah, exactly. They said, "Hey, quick, keep it down. We can hear what you're saying." It was quite different. But right, let's get cracking. This works as a top 10. So some of the top 10 things of your career. We've got the best player you've played with, the best player you've played against, the best manager you played under, a favourite goal that you scored, favourite game that you played in, your football hero growing up, the funniest moment that you can recall, the biggest what-if moment, the craziest teammate, and I know you've played with a few, and the favourite international
I think you know that one. I think you know the one.
I've got a feeling because I think you played with a certain person at Lazio.
Yes, exactly.
That I played with at Tottenham and England. But we'll come to that later.
He's way ahead of everybody else.
Yes, I'm sure everyone listening has already worked out that would be one Paul Gascoigne. Right, let's start actually with the best player that you've played with, Robin. You've obviously played with some terrific footballers.
Well, you see, that might come a little bit of a surprise to you or many people, but for me, it was Paolo Maldini. We played together in the national.
Not surprising, really. Wonderful player.
Yes, but normally people go for probably a striker or an offensive midfield player, number 10 or so. But for me, it was Paolo Maldini. We played many games in the national team together, and he was the sort of modern football player. And I'm talking about the 90s now, Gary. So at the time, he was just he was a fantastic physical specimen. He was fast. He was strong. He was technically very good. He was a left-footed player, but his right foot was as good as his left foot. He was tactically so well schooled at AC Milan. Good in the air. And on top of all that, he was a great guy as well. fantastic, really human being. And so for me, it was an absolute joy to have him or to play with him in the team and enjoy the games and the training sessions and just be around a motivated person like him.
Was he a leader as well?
Yeah, absolutely. But he wasn't the kind of leader that used to scream a lot or so on. He used to lead by example, He was just very professional, always be the first in the dressing room, the first out, always on time, and just have a quiet word with you or the team. Not a big shouter, or aggressive one, but definitely a leader just by his actions as well.
Yeah, it's good footballing family, that one.
Yeah, they didn't do too bad, did they? I mean, have you seen his son? Have you seen his son that made his debut really as well?
Yeah, he's supposed to be special. What was it that the Italian, that whole mentality back, particularly back then? I think it's kind of changed a little bit, but that defensive mentality, some of those back fours around that time were so strong, weren't they?
Yeah, it has changed a little bit, but it's probably in the DNA of Italian football and coaches and players. I think that's, you grow up a little bit with that attitude of defending first and then attack, even though it has changed, yeah. But there are some magnificent, or there were some magnificent, no, still are some magnificent defenders in Italy, because we tend to think that you base a successful team on a good defense. It's a bit like building a house, if I may use this metaphor. You build a house on a solid foundation, so you start building it on that, and that's how you try to build a football team in Italy, even though the mentality has changed a little bit, and possibly Arrigo Sacchi in the 90s started that change in mentality.
Did you play with Baresi? Did you overlap at all?
No, I think he came to the end of his career in the national team with I think the final in '94, didn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
I think we had some training sessions together. Yeah. But I didn't make the final team in '94. I got injured just a couple of games before the World Cup. So I wasn't called up, but I was leading up to it. I was in the team, and so yes, I came across him. Yeah.
What's that like? What's that like, Robbie? When you've got a big World Cup coming up, and then you're suddenly injured and ruled out.
Yeah, it's a big blow, Gary. I mean, for me, I was 50-50 because I just came into the team probably 6 months earlier. I mean, I only moved from Switzerland to Lazio in the summer of '93. And then I got my first call up in December '93, so it was really unexpected. And then I wasn't sure I was going to make the team, but Arrigo Sacchi called me up when he announced the team and said, "Look, unfortunately, if you weren't injured, you would have made the team." I said, "Thank you very much, "Thank you very much, Mister. You're making me feel even worse now."
Let's move on to the next one. This is the best player that you've played against in your career.
I'll have to name two because one was...
That's okay. We'll allow you to.
Thank you. Very generous, Gary. One was the Brazilian Ronaldo. He was in his 20s. I mean, young 20s. Early 20s. We played them Italy, Brazil in France. It was the year before the World Cup in '97. Yeah. It was just so impressive. I mean, obviously everybody knew him, we knew him, but when you actually play against him, I mean, I remember you can get near him on the pitch. He was so fast. He was so quick. And so mobile and strong. Yeah, I mean, he could get away from anybody. And I remember there was one pass down the line, and it was him against Paolo Maldini, and Paolo was fast, and Ronaldo with the ball was quicker than Paolo, and I was just behind it. I was like, oh my God, we are in trouble. So he was one of the best players I played against, and then the other one was Thierry Henry. Thierry. Thierry. My God, he was very, very good against very powerful, good, quick, very, very knowledgeable as well. He was very clever. He used to be back then. One of those players playing in the space and between the lines, and it was always difficult. And he used to get onto the left side and then drift inside. And so those are the two players that really impressed me on the pitch when I played against them.
Yeah, they're similar but different, aren't they? In many ways, both have that intelligence about it. You can't really be a top footballer without having an intelligence, can you?
No, you need to have everything.
Yeah.
You know, you need to be technically, tactically aware. You need to be fast. You need to be mobile. You need to have everything.
Yeah, and Ronaldo, he was one of the great finishers as well, wasn't he? I often think if he hadn't had those bad knee injuries, that he would probably have done the numbers that perhaps Ronaldo and Messi are now doing, even in that time when I think the game was more difficult to score that amount of goals.
Yeah, no, I'm not so sure about that, Gary, because I'm not sure Ronaldo, the Brazilian Ronaldo, had the lifestyle and the
drive
dedication,
and the commitment. Yeah, good point.
And the dedication, because Messi and Cristiano, what they do off the pitch is very professional, and that's why their career is going on and on and on. They can play until the later 30s and still producing good numbers. I mean, Ronaldo again in Italy smashed the record again. I mean, it's quite impressive.
Yeah, they are something else, those two. Let's move on now. We've got the next one's the best manager that you played under. I wonder if that'll be an international manager or a club manager.
Well, I certainly had one in Switzerland, but nobody would know him because he was very good. He really taught me a lot about the tactical understanding of the game and so on. And
what was his name?
It was Rolf Fringer. He was then manager of. He went to manage VfB Stuttgart and the Swiss national team and so on and so on. But he basically took me as a centre midfield player and put me as a centre half because he wanted to play out from the back. So that really increased my tactical knowledge and understanding. And with him, we won the league. We became Swiss champions in Switzerland in '93 with a really small team. And then Arrigo Sacchi just took me to the next level. As I was saying, from the training sessions that were really almost the ones that you're doing today. Very high intensity, small areas. To the game as well, back four, high line, high pressing, very high intensity.
What was he like? Was he one of those managers that you were a bit scared of, or was he kind of quite warm and generous?
No, I think not scared of, but you certainly had a lot of respect. And, he was very intense, and we used to hide in the hotel because he used to come and knock on the players' doors, after dinner, because he wanted to have a chat and continue to teach you about the tactical knowledge that you had and what were discussed on the day and so on and so on. But I learned so much from him. And
you used to think, well, oh God, here he comes again. He's got to talk even more.
Gary, no, he was great. It was great. I mean, to me, he was very, very good as well. But we used to switch the lights off at like 9 o'clock. Just to make or to pretend that we were sleeping. So he was certainly one that really helped me a lot and taught me a lot and was very, very good. And the other one was Ruud at Chelsea.
Yeah, he brought you to Chelsea, yeah?
Yeah, I brought me to Chelsea, but it was good, the Dutch football philosophy, just playing football all the time, never kick the ball away. That was he was very good.
Great guy as well, Ruud.
Yeah, so laid back, nothing would fuss him, He was always a lovely boy. Tomorrow is the final. Just enjoy yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Very late. It's funny because I worked with him quite a lot in TV, and he did quite a few match of the days at one point. And we generally sit there on a Saturday afternoon, like 3 o'clock, and we've got a bank of screens. If there's 6 matches going on, we've got all 6 going on. And you'd suddenly hear Ruud laying down on the couch, and he'd suddenly go, oh, and be laughing his head off. And you'd be thinking, why? What's happened? What's happened where? And he'd be on his phone and he'd be saying, look, here's an elephant on top of a car. And he'd be laughing at YouTube videos and stuff. And he's so laid back. But he certainly loves his football and knew his football, and a wonderful player as well, wasn't he?
Yeah. Very good. I played against him. I played with him at Chelsea, but I played against him in Italy. Oh my God.
Yeah. Played against him as well
couldn't
in the Euros.
Couldn't catch him.
What was he? can't imagine him as a football manager, though, knowing him how I do, that in that kind of laid-back manner. Was he kind of exactly the same as a coach, or did he change and become more demanding?
No, that's one thing with him. He didn't change. He was always, very calm and collected and laid back, and he would fill you with confidence because he had this, in a nice way, this Dutch arrogance that they know everything about football and they are the best at it and so on, and they would fill me. I mean, I had probably the best time with him, probably playing football.
Yeah, you won a few things as well. Let's move on now to the kind of more personal things about your particular career, starting with the favourite goal that you scored. Now, you scored in 3 finals for Chelsea, so I don't know whether it's going to be one of those. It's your choice.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the best goal, it's probably the FA Cup final in '97, just because it was a nice, was a nice strike, but also the importance of the goal that led to more trophies and playing in international competitions for the club as well. And I had a great game, man of the match and so on. So I really enjoyed that game. But again, I remember the night before we were in the hotel and, it was my first FA Cup final and I remember we just, as I said, it was just, lovely boy, tomorrow you're going to have a nice game, enjoy yourself. I said, okay. And I was a bit nervous, I have to be honest. But it went all well. So that was one of my favourite goals.
That's my kind of manager, they're right there. That's how I liked it. Yeah, just go and play. Okay.
Enjoy yourself. Yeah.
It's the ones that used to shout all the time from the sidelines, like, leave it. What do you know about playing up front? I used to shout.
Oh, we had another team meeting. I can't remember who we played, but the team meeting was like, guys, this is us, this is them. You're better, go out and win the game. That was the team meeting.
Perfect.
No tactical information.
Yeah. Fantastic. Well, it must have been an amazing feeling to score a goal in 42 seconds in an FA Cup final.
Well, as you can see from my celebration, I completely lost my head. I can't remember, I saw obviously the video after, but the repeat, but I can't remember, what happened in those in those probably 20 seconds after the goal. I just started, because I wasn't really a goal scorer. I mean, I scored a few goals as a midfield player, but I wasn't expected to score. No. And it was a nice feeling, especially, for us going up so early and scoring the goal. It was a great feeling, but certainly helped the team.
It was a fabulous effort, and it was one hell of a goal as well, wasn't it? You caught it sweet as a nut.
Yeah. I mean, it was a good strike. I caught it nicely with the laces, and the ball dipped a little bit. People saying maybe the goalkeeper could have done a little bit better, but who knows? I mean, the ball dipped after him. He was a few yards ahead of the goal line, but it doesn't matter at the end. It was in, and that was all that counted.
Exactly. Right, favourite game that you played in?
Favourite game? Well, I mean, favourite game, I would say the Roman derbies.
I went to one of those. I don't know whether you were playing. I went to one with when Gaza was there, so you might have played in that. It might have been that one.
Yeah, it depends. He joined a year before me, so I'm not sure.
I can't remember whether it was the first or second season, but it's the atmosphere. Woof.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the atmosphere, but also the intensity, and leading up to the game. The whole town is electrified by this game, and you can't go out of your house because everybody is just really on you to win this game. And then you come in and packed Olympic Stadium atmosphere. You see the fans on one side, your fans on this other side. And those are really intense games, but great atmosphere. And those are probably the best games that you can be involved in, especially if you win them.
Yeah, exactly. If you lose them, they're the worst, aren't they? What's the difference between the atmosphere for a big derby game in Italy compared with a big derby game in England?
It's probably off the pitch, probably a little bit more, because as I was saying, when you sign for a Roman team, supporters only talk about these 2 games.
Yeah.
That's all they really talk about. It doesn't matter if you then finish wherever. in the league. But so they put a high importance on this game. So you feel that straight away. But then even they start 2-3 weeks before this game even is played. They start already talking about it. And then, as I was saying, on the streets, people get on top of you and they put pressure on you and oh yeah. So that's a little bit different to England, but in London as well, Gary. I mean, you played in London, so there are so many teams that you might have a rivalry against one of the teams that is a bit higher than the others, but you don't really feel that it's maybe Manchester has that feeling a bit more, or Liverpool, because there's only two teams. But in London, you don't really feel that. And also, probably the culture is a little bit different. People leave you a little bit more in peace on the street. In London, at least, that's my experience.
Who was your footballing hero when you were a child?
Well, you see, I grew up in Switzerland, so it was difficult for me to really follow Italian football. And in Switzerland, there were a couple of guys, but I was 12 years of age when Italy won the World Cup. And so my football hero was Bruno Conti and Paolo Rossi. Because obviously I was watching the World Cup in Switzerland and they had a hell of a tournament. And so those are my two football heroes, I would say.
I just remember, I'm obviously quite a lot older than you, but I just remember Marco Tardelli's celebration was just unbelievable.
Oh, that's insane, Gary. I mean, I still got goosebumps when you see that celebration.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
It's incredible, the energy that he had there.
Right, so we're getting to a bit more of the light-hearted side of things now. The funniest moment. I'm sure you've got a few. Give us one.
I got
your
it.
best story.
I got a few, Gary. Oh my God. I give you a light one. So we'll sign Marcel Desailly in '98 for Chelsea. I just won the World Cup, and he won the European Championship. I mean, the European Champions League, how it's called now, a couple of times by then, and we go and play Man United in March '99. So, but after 9 months, he was with us. So we go into the tunnel, and Marcel looks around to the Man United team, and he sees Jesper Blomqvist, Swedish guy. They played with Milan, and he goes like, "Jesper, you are here now? You are here now?" And I said, "Marcel," in Italian, I said, "Marcel, bloody hell, he's been here for 9 months." I said, that's how much he was aware of what was going on, in football.
He was another one I worked with as a pundit, and we did. I remember '98, we did the World Cup. And then we talked about things, and we were talking about the fact that Thierry Henry was getting a lot of criticism from the French press. And I asked him the question. I said, Marcel, I said, we watch Thierry Henry week in, week out. He's a wonderful footballer. He's so great. Why are the French press so hard on him? And I swear this is, he looked across at us and he went, you have to realise that in France, we have had some of the great players in world football. So he has a lot to live up to. We've had Michel Platini, Zinedine Zidane. Marcel Desailly. That was my favourite line of punditry, and all the time that I've worked. Alan Hansen's jaw dropped. He went, wow, he's just mentioning himself. I just think it was so good.
Very
so
humble.
fun. Yeah.
Oh, I'll tell you another one. So we go 97, we play against Coventry, and DNW, smashed us and, so on. So 98, we go back, to Coventry. So in the tunnel again, I go across and go, hey, Dion, so how you doing? So look who we've got this year, The Rock. And I pointed to Marcel. Okay. So look who we got this year for you, The Rock. So we go on and we lose the game again, 2-1. Typical, isn't it?
It doesn't work. Sometimes you've got to wait till after before you say these things. Right. The next one is an interesting one. It's called the what if moment, the biggest what if moment. So it's a moment, if only that had happened in my career, or whether it be a player or a manager. So the what if moment, Robbie.
Yeah. Well, there's one that I would like to say, but I'm not going to say it.
What's that one?
No, I'm not going to say it.
Why don't you tell us, and
No,
then we'll decide.
I can't say that
Okay.
one. And I can't say that one. Well, I had the chance in '99. I think I had the chance to sign for Lazio again, to sign back.
Oh, to go back, and you kind of wish you had.
And no, I don't know. I mean, what if? Because then Lazio won the league in 2000, and it was when Goran Eriksson was the manager, and he really wanted me. And so, what if? What would have my career be? Also, would I have had an injury? Would I have had a life-threatening injury if I moved? So it's those ideas. And what if I went back? What would have happened?
Yeah, you just mentioned the injury there. You had an horrendous injury, didn't you? Triple leg break.
Yeah, it was quite terrible. Yeah, but it was with all the complications, soft tissues involvement. That was they killed me at the end because bones they can regrow and recover. Soft tissues is a bit more complicated.
Yeah.
So that is the what if moment.
That was the tough experience to go through an injury like that. It's still at a time of your career where you're at your prime, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, of course. You're not planning for anything like that in your career at all. But I still had, I think I just turned 30 there. Yeah, just a couple of months before that, I turned 30. So I was feeling very good, very confident, And then probably the worst time in my life, I would say.
Yeah.
Happened after the injury. It was a terrible time, as a professional, but also as a human being. You go through all your rehab and your depression and.
Did you really suffer mental health issues from it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Did you have someone to talk to about that at that stage?
Well, no,
changed a bit now.
I didn't quite. Now it's a bit more open spoken about it. But at the time, I really understand what I was going through. It was really bad, and fortunately for me, with the help of my wife, my children, I had young children, and the family, a couple of good friends. I kind of crawled out of it, and then when you actually look back, you realize, oh my God, I really did suffer mental health issues. And it was terrible, it was terrible. And I really understand today when people talk about that. And if I can give some piece of advice, seek advice. I mean, go and seek a professional or whoever you feel confident to talk to that can guide you in the right direction. Seek help. Yeah.
And it's important, that, isn't it? I mean, just because you're a very successful football player doesn't mean you can cope with everything.
No, we're human beings. First and foremost, we're human beings, Gary. And we all have the same emotions, so we feel same emotions. And so if you can, and if you go through a difficult patch, I mean, today I think we are better educated in talking about it, better educated in looking for help, and we probably have people around us that can give us help as well, which is important.
Yeah, it's very important. Obviously, you had management spells as well. How's that? How did you cope with that mentally? Because the ups and downs of management are even worse than players, aren't they? It's so difficult to keep a job for very long. The winning, the losing becomes more important.
Yeah, it was by chance really that I became manager the first time. I was working in Switzerland for Swiss TV for the European Championships in 2008. Got a phone call and went for the interview, and next thing I know, I'm the manager, and then my career started, and the first year I just thought, let me see if I actually like this, if it's something that suits me, that I'm actually good at it, because you never know, if you're a good football player, doesn't mean you're going to be a good manager.
Totally
if you're
different
a bad
job.
if you're a bad football player, doesn't mean you're going to be a bad manager. You could be a brilliant manager. And people, we've had some of the greatest managers have never actually played at the highest level, played football. So, so I enjoyed it. I had a good time. When you win a lot of games, you have a good time. I had a good time, and they moved on to West Brom again. Had a really good good time there. We gained promotion and so on, and then Premier League, and then you're somehow in this bubble, and it is true that it's quite intense, but it's also very satisfying. When you achieve targets and objectives, and you win something, or you gain promotion, or you win a cup, a trophy. As a player, you can probably you can celebrate with the others, so you can share the achievement. As a manager, it's a bit more lonely. You have your staff, but it's a different kind of feeling.
We don't have a question, best managerial moment, because obviously we're concentrating on players, but you certainly had one or two.
Yeah,
I mean, Champions League it's so special.
Yeah.
Must be a great memory for you.
Yes, it was. I mean, it was because of the memories, because of the emotions. Some of the games that you're sitting there and you're thinking, how are we going to get through this? Barcelona away.
That was extraordinary, that game.
You're sitting in the dugout, Gary, and you're doing actually okay. You're 1-0 down, but it's all even at the moment, and then you're sending off shortly after this goal, and you're sitting there and you're thinking, scratching your head, you're thinking, oh my God, how are we gonna not concede another 5 here? Because it's happened before. New cup,
with
Barcelona,
it happened
before. And then a moment of brilliance from Lamps and
Ramirez, wasn't it? Was it Ramirez?
Ramirez, yeah, exactly, Ramirez. Moment of brilliance, and we scored the goal, and I go, and it completely changes the dynamic. You go in at halftime, and you go like, and there's a lot going on, and I'm there in the dressing room thinking, guys, I was going to say something different, but as we scored the goal, I'm thinking, you know what, we're in the final right now. So if we can just hang on to the result.
Easy.
Just hang on to the result. We do a bit of this, do a bit of that.
You just went to the Ruud Gullit School of Management for a while there, didn't you?
Well, a little bit, because there wasn't, what else could you do? You're one man down, you're 2-1, and we gave some tactical instructions, and they just hope for the best. I mean, it's difficult 11 against 11, but at best times.
It was almost like it was meant to be for Chelsea that year in a way. Even looking at the final, it was an extraordinary game, wasn't it?
Yeah, I guess so. We always had a little bit, if you look at all the games, we always had our back towards the wall, really,
Yeah.
In most of the games, the Napoli game, that we had to come back from the first leg defeat. But it's what it is, and you always need a little bit of luck on the way to win it.
Of course.
I mean, every team that's won the trophy, you look at the way they got to winning. There was always a moment of brilliance, but a moment of luck that has to be on your side, which you have to deserve. But
describe your emotions when you won that penalty shootout in the final.
Strangely enough, I was really happy for everybody else.
Not yourself?
No, I don't know. That's how I remember it, Gary. I was obviously happy, but for me, it was like, I'm so happy that, the players. We had so many players that were in the club for so many years, and they went to one final and lost it. I mean, talking about luck, do you remember the final United Chelsea where JT slipped, for the final decisive penalty, And so they deserved, those players, that group of players deserved to have won it. And also, it was important for the club. So that's my memory. Obviously I was very happy, but for me it was like, I'm so happy that, the club is playing the Champions League next year. The players managed to win it, they have it. We had two players, it was Paulo Ferreira and Bosima, that were the only ones that had won it, I think, once before. And everybody else had never won it. So it was the first time for the majority of the team.
Yeah, it was a special moment. And obviously, you got the job at Chelsea, and after that, what was it like losing the job at Chelsea? How hard is that to deal with?
Yeah, It's like when you're in love with a girlfriend and she doesn't love you as much as you love her, and she breaks up with you. And she breaks up with you.
That can't have ever happened to you, Robbie, surely.
Oh my God, that's how I feel. But so we need to have one Gaza moment, though, Gary. Don't we?
Yeah. Well, we're coming to that now because here's the craziest. This is the craziest teammate. This is it. We've reached it, and yours will be the same as mine, I'm sure, because there is no one crazier. What's your best story?
Well, some of the stories we can obviously not
yes, I've
tell.
got a few of those as well.
So one story is, I joined the club. I'm 23 years old, from Switzerland. Hardly had a bit of beard, so go Gaza, and obviously it picks on the newcomers. So after the training session, everybody's gone. I did some work and I think some physio, so on. So I'm one of the last to go. So I go to the car park, get to the car, and from far away I see my car, and I'm looking and I'm thinking, what? The wheels don't look right. So I get to the car, and it deflated all my 4 wheels on my car. And I'm thinking, Gary, this is not possible that I have a puncture in my wheel on 4 of them. One is okay, you can think, okay, 1, 4 of them. So the next day, he goes like, so how did you get home yesterday? So Gaza basically, it deflated all my wheels, okay? And so he does it to the newcomers.
How did you find playing with him? Because obviously you'd have played with him in midfield as well. I mean, unbelievable talent.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. I mean, it was so much fun. And again, because of his personality and character, he used to deflate the intensity or the nervousness of the team, because you get a bit tense or nervous before a game. Right? And because of his jokes and his personality, he used to always joke around and be really light-hearted about it. He used to bring a really good atmosphere to the team. And obviously his qualities, we all know his qualities, and it was a joy to play with him. It was so good fun. And on the pitch, he was always very helpful. You always used to talk to me or talk to you and tell, give me the ball when I'm in this position, and you can always give me the ball, give it to me, even if I have to play on my back.
But he won't give it you back.
He always give. So it was a good teammate. It was a really brilliant teammate.
What did the Italian supporters, the Lazio fans, make of him?
Oh, the Lazio fans loved him.
Yeah,
absolutely adored him. Really adored him. I mean, first year he was really good. He was brilliant. The first year, scored some incredibly good goals.
Yeah.
And as time went on, he had a bit more issues off the pitch a little bit. But the Lazio fans, they loved him to death.
Yeah, he's a great.
And
person.
The players as well. We loved him as well. As a teammate.
You can't not love Gaza.
You love him. He was so generous. He had a really good big heart.
Yeah, he certainly did. Right, we've only got one left, Robbie. This is favourite international moment.
Favourite international moment. So playing with the national team.
Exactly.
For
Italy.
Yeah, probably European Championship, 96.
Yeah.
First game, I mean, we played, I think it was Old Trafford against Czech Republic, I think it was, So Old Trafford, so walking out, I can't remember if it was Old Trafford or Anfield Road, but I think it was Old Trafford.
Yeah, same thing.
I'm not sure. Yeah.
I'm just joking for every Man United and Liverpool fan out there. I was just messing about.
You walk out and at the time, mid-90s, obviously, England had nice stadiums compared to the rest of Europe, especially in Italy, probably. They were nice, and it was a big, first European competition for me, playing with the national team, and we played well, won the game, and that probably was one of the best experience that I had internationally. Great
country, great footballing country, of course. Italy, great traditions.
Yeah.
Well, we've run out of questions now on that top 10, but I've got to ask you, of course, what you're up to these days. I know you're playing golf a lot, that's for sure. You're always playing golf. Seen you many times on a golf course.
Yeah, not as much as you would think so. I would hope so, but I keep myself busy. I do a bit of media work, either Champions League or Premier League. It's mostly though for foreign televisions that broadcast abroad, not in the UK. Sometimes I do a little bit in the UK as well, but mostly for them. Watch a lot of football. I have some business interests outside football as well, which I'm involved in, and I really enjoyed the last few years looking after my family, because when you're a manager, they come short.
24/7, isn't it?
Yeah, you don't have exactly. You don't have as much spare time for them. So looking after my family and treat them well and being helpful, and I really enjoyed it. And I'm looking forward to a new challenge at some point. I don't know when.
In coaching, would you like to go back into management coaching?
Yeah,
if the right opportunity came along.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that would be nice. At some point in the future, that's on the horizon, I think. But otherwise, I have a good balance in my life. I'm very happy right now. My family is healthy. I'm blessed with a nice family. I've got a beautiful wife, 3 lovely kids, and it's been great to see them develop in the last few years. So I'm in a good position.
Well, that's good to hear. It's certainly been great talking to you, and thanks for sharing your thoughts and particularly some of your stories. Fantastic stuff, Robbie. Thank you very much for spending time with us.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure, Gary, and thank you for thinking of me.
Of course. Well, that's it for the second series of Match of the Day, Top 10. I hope you've enjoyed it, and thank you very much for listening.
BBC Sounds.
Hi everybody, I'm Joe Wicks and welcome to the Joe Wicks podcast.
Let's do this.
I'll be joined by inspirational people like Gordon Ramsay, Fern Cotton and Louis Theroux.
You're stretching yourself, taking yourself out of your comfort zone, and actually it almost turbocharges you.
And I'm going to find out what they do to keep their mental and physical health in check.
You don't have to do classical meditation. You have to find a thing that takes you to that place.
The Joe Wicks podcast.
I think you're going to learn things that you maybe wouldn't have expected, and it might really help you.
Subscribe on BBC Sounds. He sounds. He sounds. He sounds. He sounds.